This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
Well, that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
And a rather huge welcome to our listeners for the Dante special podcast with the Bar Stewards Enquiry. My name's Lee Keys of systembet.co.uk. And as always, the better half of this show, John Lang of John Joe's Blogspot, to chew the fat and hopefully get you some winners at the Dante meeting this week. It's mine and John's probably favourite week of the flat calendar this year. Lovely that we've got this sort of racing. Shame we can't attend, John. You know,
I would have been loving to have been there this week. Half a pound to wait sat in gin with John Mullall before the first and stagger over 10 minutes before they go in the stalls and take it from there with half a dozen aspirin.
Absolutely. Or those pink tablets you told me about.
Yeah, they're lovely though.
Fantastic then. If any of our listeners suffer from aches and pains on the golf course or sort of joint issues, a couple of those, or four if you must, before you tee off, you wouldn't want a piss test after, would you, John?
No, but you'll float round. You float around like one of Willie's at Cheltenham.
And I believe you can get them from Boots as well. So there we go.
Over the counter, it must be legal.
That's right. Over the counter, something for the weekend, sir. Right, I'm going to kick the show off this week just by mentioning one of our past shows, which we talked about brilliant racing films that we've watched. And John recommended The Rainbow Jacket to me. And I can honestly say I watched it the other week. It was fantastic. There was a line in it that I will just never forget. It was one steward said to another, he said, hey, you got a runner at Nottingham today. Must have a good chance, what? And the other steward turned around and said, if she's trying, I mean, that just shows you, I think if that doesn't tell you how racing is, John, I mean, that's it, really. It was just fantastic.
Steve Carson's favourite racing film, that as well,
Yeah, it's brilliant. And it's so realistic, really well filmed. Obviously, it's 1960s technology with the obviously effects. But, I mean, you just ignore that and just enjoy it. The actual races are filmed at the actual tracks as well. So, like, the footage that you see, when they say it's Windsor, it's actually Windsor. When they say it's Lingfield, it's Lingfield. When they say it's Doncaster, it's Doncaster. It's fantastic. So, yeah, I recommend that Rainbow Jacket to anyone. And the reason I've brought this up is because we've had another listener say we've missed a really brilliant film off, John, in The Rocking Horse Winner. And
I remember seeing this. I'm not sure how old I was, but it's like this little deranged kid, isn't it? And he gets up on the rocking horse and goes like hell at it, and Ross starts tipping winners to him, and they all playing up.
Yeah,
I mean, we could all do with one of them in the back bedroom, couldn't we?
where we sit on a rocking horse and ride it like it's got no life in it, and then just expect winners to pour out. What a fantastic thing that would be! Whip action and everything. If
6 strikes and you're off, man.
Out comes the name. But yeah, I mean, it's like I haven't seen the film, but I've read the synopsis, and basically it's about where they all get wealthy from betting, and then they all start falling out with each other, and and then it's like they've got no money left because all stops giving them winners and things like that.
That might happen at Colmar,
Should we send a copy to?
Send one over to Harry Potter. So show this to the lads. Just in case they might all fall out. It'd be terrible, wouldn't it?
A Tabor Smith Magnier division. Yeah.
They might take it to the cobbles. They're all scrapping in the yard. Gum shield.
Well, I've just got these images of that in my head. I don't know why. I do that when you talk, but yeah. Anyway, right. Thanks for that call, Swanson. Anyway, and he's also given us a question to start the show off, which I will. We've got quite a few questions to get through, so I'll get through them. Question for the Bar Stewards: who would you put, John, in the Bar Stewards Hall of Fame?
Well, I think actually somebody I've already mentioned, Joe Motherwell, because nobody can pour a gin out like that fella. Absolutely legendary. I mean, he used to use a half-pint tumbler there and leave about an inch gap at the top, and then ask you if you wanted tonic.
Right, play.
Well, the answer to that was, well, just a splash, Joe, you'll spill it. So, I mean, definitely a place for Joe. And as we're in Dante Week, I would volunteer someone like a gentleman that we buried one Dante Week, Noel Merlis, who was a good Yorkshire trainer initially at Hambleton, and I think we buried him the reference point under Dante, actually.
Right, good shout. That real good shout. Yeah. Noel Merlis. Yes, very, very respected indeed. Good shout there, John. I prefer your gin, man, to be honest. But
well, so do I. You know, I never got a gin off smell like.
Right, next question, because we'll skip through because we have got a few questions. So let's say I want to get through these. Michael Toms says, "How fortunate was it through an administrative error that Rachel Blackmore was able to ride the gambled 40s into 11-4 Call Me Freddie this week? Very surprising that she hadn't been booked for a ride in a 16-runner handicap, or maybe her agent just had a feeling, John."
Could have been the case, you know. It's very hard to cast aspersions on our darling Rachel, as Desi calls her now. But no, I mean, these things happen, don't they, regularly. There's always somebody waiting in the wings to take over when the application of cash has been applied, and you know, this one's landed the longer for the lads, hasn't it? So, well done, well concerned, Davey.
Yeah, absolutely. They've had it right off, Michael Toms. They've had it right off. You lads over there, you different gravy. I mean, there was that thing I read the other day, John. They'd found 60,000 doses of performance-enhancing steroids in Ireland.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. I literally read it on the Bob Baffert thing. You know, the.
Yeah.
We were just on about that in the other show, weren't we? The $1,000 yearling winning the Kentucky Derby, and old Bob stuck super unleaded in until it's running down its nose. I mean,
Wayne Lucas is keeping his head down at the minute. I don't know whether nobody's seen them in the same room with the white hair, have they?
there's this thing about white hair and you know,
and crazy application of chemicals. Yeah.
60,000 doses, Michael Toms, found in Ireland. Nuts and hay. Anyway, we'll move on. Next question, also market related, betting markets, from Quentin Franks, a good listener. Believe Quentin Franks runs his own tipping service as well. I've heard it's quite good as well. Quentin Franks, plug there for you. You know, expect cash in the post. He says, horse racing markets, Betfair SP, are they highly efficient, highly inefficient, or somewhere in between? And he refers, for example, how Luganini on rattling fast ground at Pontefract, obviously not effective on, a prime example of inefficiency. John, any take on this?
I think the market really is only as efficient as the people that's putting the cash on. You know, I mean, if, you know, if, 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 if there's a group of people with plenty of spends decide Luganini's been wanting fast ground all his life and decide to get pitched in, and they've got the money there to cover every bit of liquidity that's up in that market, they can make the market look stupid, can't they? They thump it in, and Luganini runs like an absolute raspberry.
Yeah.
And, everybody's saying, well, what an inefficient market. It might be half a dozen blokes that's clubbed together with the cricket money.
Quentin, there is an argument from my side in that I'm getting lots of sort of rumours, and I kind of know. They're not rumours, I know. That basically now people are getting on in India and places like that. So if jockeys and traders, say, for example, to keep money away from Betfair and to stop, escalator graphs from going from 8s to 50s, they're doing the business out in India. Now that to me will make Betfair more inefficient if it doesn't find its way back. If it does find its way back, then obviously I would say then it becomes efficient again. But you're possibly going to get horses now that don't particularly drift much, and you think, well, and are clearly not at the races, and you're thinking, well, that's not the Betfair of old. You'd normally see a ride like that, and it goes from 3 to 1 to 10s. But I'm just wondering now if the jockeys and trainers are just being a bit cute and getting on elsewhere. That's keeping it away from the machine, John.
It's very possible. Very possible.
Yeah.
Because, there was a time where it was a tremendous heads up, especially with certain jockeys.
Oh, yeah.
Betfair Eddie's riding one, and it was drifting like buggery. You can more or less guarantee it was going to miss the kick, couldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's, like I say, Quentin was sort of like referring to form. Obviously, Luganini is a horse that definitely wants. Everyone knew it wants soft ground. Princess Lulu, the mom, she wanted cut, and Pontefract that day was riding like a road, an absolute road, and like you said, the amazing thing to knock it into favourite over Wald Koenig, I think was some kind of a very strange market move. I remember saying on the day as well that I thought, how on earth have they made this favourite? I don't know. But there we go. Like you said, sometimes it just isn't. And but as a rule, it is. But as I said, if more people are staying away from the exchange to do the business, then it has to get less efficient, I would have thought. Next point. From Aaron Rhodes, it's not really a question as such, but he's just pointing something out for the Dante meeting this week, John. He says Connor Beasley's record in the 2:10 on Wednesday, which is the sprint handicap, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He says is very impressive in recent times. He's had a couple of runner-ups and he's won the race, and he rides Woven in this, which is about a 10s perk. Did you have a look at that 2:10 by any chance?
I actually swerved that. It was one of the few handicaps I didn't really bother with. I've been going to the Dante meeting for about 40 years now, and I don't think I've ever actually got one in the first 3 in that race.
Yeah.
So I tend to avoid like the plague, to be perfectly honest.
Our lines there are nothing for you and nothing from me either, so go buggery on that one. Next, he's a good listener. He's already understands. He understands. The next question is from another good listener of ours, Ian Davis, and he says, with Bolshoi Bally winning the Leopardstown Derby trial on Sunday by 6 lengths, just what does higher definition have to do in the Dante at York to keep the dream alive, John?
Well, he has to turn up for starters.
And
we're probably not guaranteed he's going to do that. I think Bolshoi Bally winning like it did has probably took a bit of pressure off Harry. And he definitely won't on this horse unless he thinks it's right now. And if it is right, I think it's facing a bloody sight stiffer test than Bolshoi Bally was facing. Because at the end of the day, he's only beaten his stable mate, hasn't he? 6 lengths. Well, yeah. I think there's 4 or 5 in in that Dante that had beat that stablemate of his six length.
Yeah.
So, as impressive as Bolshoi Ballet looked visually, I still think it's got to do it against a couple of decent tools to justify the current price myself. And as I say, I think high definition space in a much different calibre of field on Thursday if it runs.
Yeah, could have been just horses in that Leopardstown race not running the races. Obviously, Max Winey didn't run his, and you know that
He
kind
was
of
very slack across the lines. I'd be surprised if he was even ready for the derby, to be honest.
Yeah. Next question from Ian Davis was, fact or fiction, the Nave Mire is recovered marshland, and when it rains, the going gets uniquely holding, John.
Well, the fact that it's reclaimed marshland's fact. The fictional bit, I think, is the uniquely holding thing. I don't think it's necessarily holding, because when it gets proper wet, there's surprisingly a lot of American breds cut through it rather well with their choppy little dirt actions, which I have had experience of in the past. Some horses I've been involved with have not only run well on rained on watered ground there that's got extremely wet, and you wouldn't have looked at their pedigrees and thought they need some soft ground at York. But I have actually seen plenty of them run really well on it. I think it can be an acquired taste when you're in like the good to soft sort of territory. I always like to say something that's actually done it on good to soft there previously. I always gives me confidence if I'm betting something like that, because I think where they're just taking a nice cut and making a print, I think that you can find there sometimes, for some strange reason, fancy horses that haven't been there before can run absolute stinkers, and you can never really put your finger on why.
Yeah, I agree with that. It does seem to ride odd, is I think the word I'm looking for. You know, like some tracks, I don't know. I feel like it's cliched here when you start saying, oh well, some horses will go through it. I just think York tends to ride odd. I can't put my finger on it, but it does worry me when ground gets really soft.
Even since they relaid it, you know, it's not. It's not what you'd want. You wouldn't pick it as a surface.
No. There's nothing finer than betting on horses at York on good to firm. You know,
me, I'd dig it up and put Tapperton down.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
Seriously,
yeah.
Why?
Because you'd have no chill over the ground. That'd be the end of it.
You know, if they could make green tappeta, I'd be for that.
But I mean, why can't they? You know, I mean,
there's something about it when you look at like Newcastle, for example.
Yeah,
you know,
it looks like a building site. I know.
It looks terrible. It's a terrible colour. It's just not. I just can't get my head around like an E-ball meeting, and then you know it's like Newcastle.
Why can't they dye it green? You know what I mean?
They should do. Yeah, that's what we recommend. So it looks like.
Why don't we write to the bloke at Southall, because they're going for it, aren't they?
Yeah.
And say, if you haven't ordered it, see if it comes in green.
The green bit, because that's it. I mean, for example, if you started playing snooker on beige, you know, everyone would go, "What?" You know, it's like
there won't be many browns potted.
Too right, yeah. But yeah, interesting.
Well, Quentin started playing again. He liked putting the brown ahead.
Yeah. Bill Werber, I used to like 8 pints before he played.
He liked putting the Carlsberg, didn't he?
Yeah, he's good. Good days. Right, good questions, Ian. Finishing off with Siren John Nolan. And he starts off by saying, Has any listener, so listeners, have you ever done this? Because John Nolan has. Sat there with his siren on his head and his Swarfiga and his waders. He says he's laid a winner that was £39 out of the handicap and won. He says, and if you haven't, he's the clubhouse leader on that. And he's so listeners, get in touch if you've laid a winner more than £39 out of the handicap.
He's going to take some baiting there, isn't he?
He's born unlucky, is John. But his real question is the Barbadian Baron, Sir Michael Stout, is he ever going to have a classic horse ever again? Or is he going to have a decent raft of 2-year-olds ever again before he calls it a day? And why the fuck doesn't he have a stable jockey, John? And if he did, who should it be?
Well, I do think he's going to have a classic horse before he hangs his hat up. More of which shortly. As regards whether he's going to have any decent 2-year-olds, he seems to have given up trying to train horses to be 2-year-olds, to be honest. I mean, I can't for the life of me think that anybody could have a yard so full of such backward types that you can hardly get a run it before the end of July. But that seems to be the approach now. Stable jockeys, the kid that's standing in for Ryan at the minute seems to be doing the job perfectly well. If I had to do anything there, I would be full square behind Kingscote at the minute. I don't think you could get anybody better. Maybe it's James Doyle, but I don't think he's riding brilliant this year.
Are you a bit fed up, John, at the moment when you constantly see Ryan Moore for Stout, like in these nice races on nice horses?
It's an insane tactic, isn't it? Because whatever they do, you get to day and you're going to be casting around for a jockey. Maybe not now he's got Kingscote fairly established as the go-to David Fairclough super sub. But prior to that, I mean, you had horses like Crystal Ocean going into King George, wondering who was going to ride it. It would piss me off enormously if I was an owner there, paying Christ knows what a week, and Ryan Moore was riding them all in the prep races and getting a good idea how to beat them when he's ran for Harry Potter. Yeah. And finding out about all the weaknesses, and then he's not with you on day. I'm a great believer in stable jockeys, and I think particularly Michael Stout's been at his best when he's had good stable jockeys, and.
Well, doesn't that help when you're riding work? Because obviously, if you've got a stable jockey, say if you make
absolutely, they get to know him.
Stable jockey, he's going to be riding these the main ones in the mornings, and he's got to be better than a bit like when Gosling gets to Torian to ride, the finishing pieces on his horses, in Able, Stradivarius, etc. Right? It's phone calls and sirens. We love it. But it's like, I think that's it, isn't it, John? That it's amazing how much these jockeys can make a difference. Like just to the performance of horses, rather than ridden by Joe Spiv, in a morning. It's Richard Kingscote coming in to ride this in its final peak. Now I've no doubt that Stout will bring in, top flight jockeys to ride serious horses. But like you said, surely it's better to have the actual man in the saddle. That's going to be on the day. So he knows all the traits of that horse. He knows everything about it. Yeah, totally agree.
It's a definite blind spot for me.
Yeah. So come on, Sir Michael, get going and nick Kingscote from the Chester lot. He's fed up of riding winners round Chester now.
Well, that's it. He must be sick of whizzing around there on
He must
folks.
Must be dizzy, yeah. Right, so now we can begin our preview of the week with all the best bets and sort of thoughts for the Dante meeting ahead. I'll kick off with a nice stat for you. William Haggis, who loves a winner at York, is a very impressive 6 from 18 since 2016 at this meeting, and the six others have been placed, and he's making a 37 points profit at this meeting. So William Haggis is very selective what he sends here, but when he does, he clearly means business. And we're going to kick off, John, on the Wednesday at the 240 race, which is the Duke of York, and it's sponsored by Clipper Logistics, a Group 2 event. And Art Power is heading the market with Oxted at 100 to 30 joint favourites. That's with William Hill. Have you looked at the Duke of York, John?
Looked at it, cogitated, remunerated, and whatever else rated at it. And I think my view is Oxted might possibly want quicker down than they'll get here. At the end of the day, he hasn't won since the July Cup either, and for a sprinter that was supposed to be carrying all before him at the time, I think that's enough reason to question. He may well have been tailed, shall we say. He's not looked the horse he did last summer either, to me.
Do you think, John, with Oxted, he had wind surgery after he won the July Cup?
He couldn't set him back.
And the 3 races he's ran since then, whilst being okay. Well, the one in Saudi Arabia wasn't, but the other were just okay. So
yeah. Whereas, I mean, Art Power, I would hope he doesn't come here like most of Tim's this year in need of a pipe opener. If he does, I'll probably be backing him second time up. But I would imagine this has been the target for some time. The Easterby family love a winner there. I mean, the old spitting lad will be prowling that parade ring while the race is on, hoping his nephew's leading the winner in. Goes fine on soft. It's got plenty of early. Still should be able to put him where he wants. Summergand, I don't know if this race will lend itself to the type of hold-up ride he wants. Starman, well beaten by the selection once he came out of listed company. He needs to take another step forward. And this is something that surprised me. Brando's run there 10 times and not won.
Yeah.
So I think I'm jumping in the Art Power camp for this, and I think I'm quite strong on it, really.
Okay. Well, I mean, Art Power is currently priced 100 to 30 with Sylvester de Souza. By the way, 4-year-olds have won the last 4 renewals of this event, and the reason I like siding with 4-year-olds is because I often believe sprinters, as they get older and older, a bit like us all, really, they can lose that little bit of toe. And it's like when you're looking at like the likes of Brando, 9 years old, he ran an absolute blinder at Royal Ascot last summer when just getting touched off in the big event there behind Glen Shiel, the champion sprint. Actually, sorry, that was October, not the Royal Ascot meeting, but same thing, same track, same sort of horses. But yeah, Brando basically got touched off, and you just think, 9 years old now, can he repeat that? I'm starting to doubt it. His 2 runs this year haven't been very good. My selection in here, I do like yours, John, Art Power. The one thing I'd say about Art Power, for people backing him, he's never been a 5 furlong horse in his life. I know he beat Keep Busy off 97 at Ascot, and you're saying, what are you talking about? But I'll challenge anyone then to watch the 6 furlong run at Naas, or Naas, the run after Ascot, when he beat Millisle, and he was off the bridle 2 out. He was struggling, and he absolutely powered home over the 6. And if you watch him in the last 2 Group 1 races, John, behind Dreamer Dreams and Glen Shield, he's just like Fateur at a crucial point.
Yeah.
So I said this to a friend of mine. I actually said when they dropped him back to 5 in the Nunthorpe, I said this horse wants 7. You know, after Nace, I wouldn't have looked. I mean, it was an error to drop him back in triple. And I think he needs every yard of 6. I do honestly believe that. So that'd be my one worry, just in case. They need a good gallop, but they should go a good gallop. They always do. But my choice, just sporting bet really in here, was Malatham, Roger Varian's runner, dropping back in Trip, the Jersey winner last year, and managed to touch off the. Was it the American Raider at the time? Congratulations, or I think at the time, it was a Hong Kong trainer. I think King Kong. And the thing, what I like about Malatham is that he travels into his races, travels really well.
Yeah, he's a travelly thing, isn't he? Yeah.
Travelly, turn a foot. And I just thought Malatham might excel here at 6 off a strong pace. So if there is a strong pace, of course. Yeah, but so John is out power. I am small on Malatham at 17-2. We move on. That's our best calls on the Duke of York. We move on to the feature race of the first day of the Dante meeting, which is, of course, the Tattersalls Musidora Stakes. It's a Group 3 event. It's a Oaks trial, and usually a very good Oaks trial over the years. And we have the Roger Varian trained Tiona market leader at around the 6-5 mark at the moment, John, as we speak. Any view on the Musidora for me?
This Tiona must have paid for Boris Johnson's wallpaper or something. I can't have this 5-4 unless there's somebody's been talking out of school and don't know when to shut up. Really, I mean, I just don't get it. Nice, really potential, yeah. 5-4, no, shove it with your ass. Absolutely no interest whatsoever. Not for me at that price. I mean, I'll go through the ones I looked at. I mean, I thought Twisted Reality was open to significant improvement from the maiden win.
Absolutely.
Handle soft. Harry Potter with 1 entry. I mean, I think he's just having a fair look for Santa Barbara. I think the ratings on the wall, he's at Santa Barbara for the Oaks.
Twisted Reality is not in the field, John.
She's not been declared?
No. No. I thought, to be honest, I thought she had, because I watched the race this morning. So, yeah.
Which one's Agus declared? Has he declared Sea Empress?
No, I believe the Empress goes for the Michael Seeley on Thursday, on Friday.
Well, really, I mean, it's John Nolan time now, because listen up, John. Take your
Siren.
Yeah, Siren going now. Noon Star, absolutely bred in the purple. This mother was a proper Oaks filly. The maiden stroke novice form's working out nicely. I loved what she did at Weatherby. She looked professional, bags of scope about her physically, strong through the body, improvement to come over 12, I'd have said. Excellent manner about her, and I would expect her to book her ticket for the Oaks in no uncertain style here.
Very good write-up, and I concur with you, John. I think she's a very nice filly. I think the win at Weatherby highlighted the fact that she's certainly going to be stakes class, without a doubt. That's probably pointing the obvious out, or the bleeding obvious. The only I mean, she was my original selection, but I think what has caused Tiona to be the price she is. Obviously, she was very impressive when winning at Newcastle, but apparently this is just obviously my variant Merle, if you like, if they're any good. She's absolutely thrashing the Lingfield Derby trial winner Third Realm on the gallops. So whether that justifies the price, I don't know. But apparently her work has been absolutely phenomenal. But so that's the only thing that stops me, from basically putting my balls in the frying pan and going, I want a big bet on Noon Star because because we forget what contacts say sometimes or moles, if you like. We like to go on what we see with our eyes, and I agree with you. I think Noon Star's the best filly in the race on what I've seen, but it's obviously some the homework is obviously very impressive for Tiona. So that's the first day covered. We'll be coming back at the end of the show to cover off any sort of other fancies we've got at the meeting, because obviously, we've 6 feature races to go through. So we'll go through the feature races, and then at the end of the show, we'll go through any other best bets we've got at the meeting. So we'll just move on to the Thursday on the card, and we'll start off by looking at the Albasti Equiworld Dubai Middleton Stakes, which is a Group 2 event for fillies and mares of the older variety. And leading the market at the moment, I believe, is KN Pepper John of Jesse Harrington from Queen Power of Sir Michael Stout's Yard at 2-1 and 5-2 respectively. Have you got any view on the Middleton?
Yeah. I mean, they've done well to get this hyped up to a Group 2, really. I mean, it's turned out to be a nice race over the last few years. I tended to prefer it when it was a graduation race, and you got a dozen or so fillies that might make the Ribblesdale or the Gold Trees. I found it a lot more informative because a lot of the times I've run this, it's just been a lap of honour. And I get the impression that this could be similar this year. I can't for the life of me say anything beating KN Pepper. She was second to a Breeders' Cup winner last year, for God's sake. Aiden's House Passion has some fair form in the book. I could see her chasing her home at a respectable distance. And we know Queen Power will finish close up and beaten, don't we? So that's about as much as I need to take out the race. I mean, what price is KN Pepper at the minute?
KN Pepper is. I'm just going to check this now just to make sure I've got up to date prices, because sometimes odds checkers a bit weird. Right, KN Pepper is actually William Hill are very shrewd. They're 2-1 They're 2-1 fab. However, Paddy Power and Betfair are 100 to 30. That needs smashing.
Dear God.
That needs smashing.
That's like insane.
That needs smashing like a chicken parmo after 7 San Miguels in the butter.
Oh. Honestly, that's just too tempting for words, I mean, if you could smash that, I'd take a baseball bat to Boris Johnson's cobblers. You'd still smash that, wouldn't you?
He'll be hanging out the arse of some civil servant.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so I totally concur with your selection, because the Ginger Hitler was on, telling us all, like you were, about how jaded Queen Power is in a finish. And I think we saw that at Newmarket. She doesn't put it all in. So how that can be favourite in anyone's book, I don't know. And then you've got Passion that KN Pepper has already drubbed last season when they ran against each other. That was behind the brilliant, can I say, Tarnower
This is
mayor.
insane betting. This.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
I thought, it's sort of tempted to wrap this up and just go and start laying into this.
Well, we should just wrap the show up now. That's it, listeners.
And she said it's not running or something.
I mean, knowing Jessie, there's absolutely no way. I mean, well, she won't run. She won't bring this over just for a spin. It's not with current regulations as it is, and no. But neither of the Jessie runners are jumped up because she's got silence pleasing. So
right.
It's one of them, really. I mean, put it this way. I mean, like I said, passion needs further than 1 mile 2 furlongs. Passion wants a mile and a half plus. I mean, we all love a bit of passion, but not this one of an extended 10. It can't beat KM Pepper over.
I literally can't believe this. I mean, I didn't even check the prices out because I thought this is going to be a non-event, 4 to 6.
Yeah. No, in total agreement. It's yeah. Put it this way: if Jesse's turns up KM Pepper, I mean, there's no way you. I mean, John, she could have a spin with her filly in any race she wants in Ireland.
Yeah.
So if she turns up at York, right, she's not turning up fat or
no.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Because you can do that in Ireland. You don't have to get on ferry and do whatever else you're doing. Just have a spin up or a floater. It's a KM Pepper. I mean, just check with your bookmaker. If you get non-running no bet as well chucked in, just have a bet.
Put someone for us.
Yeah. Get me and John on. So that's KM Pepper. We're unanimous on that. Absolutely, just different class. I agree. Totally agree with John. Right, we move on to the feature race of the meeting, the big talking race where everyone's hoping for a big shake-up in the Derby market. Bolshoi Bally provided that at the weekend in the Derringstown. And I think people are hoping now for another contender to emerge in the Dante, John.
Indeed. Well, regular listeners will know my opinion of High Definition from last year. I think the horse has the potential to be one of the ones. The problem being, of course, he's missed his intended engagement at Lingsfield at the weekend. And he's still doubtful for this. Aidan's going to be having a look at a bucket of blood and seeing what's floating in it before he makes his mind up whether to run it. And from a betting point of view, I wouldn't have said that was ideal, because at the end of the day, we're previewing this to try and chunk up a bit of value in the Dante market.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my thoughts on what's in the Dante were pretty much as follows. Alenka won what's going to start to look a fairly shit trial at Sandown, I thought.
Yep.
The runner-up's probably got quotes for the RSA now after Lingfield. Bellocchio, same farm line. Flying Visit was a good second to Bolshoi Ballet. Probably sets the standard really on Bear Farm, because Gear Up absolutely nicked it, Group 1 off the front end in France last year. The Acom form is just a little bit better than a splash fart. Seriously overrated on official figures for me, that one, unless you got the softy of all softies. Hurricane Lane's bred for the job, kept on too well for Maximal that we think's a bit of a ponce anyway at Newbury.
Yeah.
So we'd expect some of these to provide more of a test for it. And then we come with the two I'm interested in, actually. You got Roger Varian, Royal Champion. It's well worth a mention, I think. I think this could improve a lot from debut. And it'd be very interesting if they come here off the back of that. I mean, I would have thought Varian would have run his best derby up here, and he's won 2 derby trials already.
That's a very good shout. It's a very good shout.
You know, and if that debut this year was legit, you wouldn't be thinking about Dante's, you'd be thinking about getting a win into him somewhere. So I'm assuming there's a fair bit of improvement to come from that if that turns out. But then there's the one, and I'm in terrible conflict about this because it's trained by Ed Worthel. But John Leaper impressed me enormously with his maiden win at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Holly Doyle sat out the back in a race where they didn't seem as though they were going mental or anything like that. They turned into the straight. Holly Doyle still sat out the back and not really seeming to give a flying shit how far behind she is or anything else. The race started in earnest. Holly Doyle still sat still for a little while. And then for minimal pressure, this thing came through, swamped a fair tool of Owen Burrows that I've got about £5 in front of his handicap mark, and just blew past it without looking fully extended. It's out of an Oaks winner. He's named it after his father. Dangerous. This could be a bit lively, and I think if this had been trained by Gosden and ridden by Vittori at Newcastle, I think this would be favourite for this race.
Favourite. Yep, absolutely.
I think 8-1's absolutely sick each way.
Well, I mean, the minute you just look at the pedigree, but forget the trainer. It's Frankel out of Snow Fairy, obviously, an Oaks winner. So straight away, the pedigree goes absolutely wow. I mean, this horse basically is Frankel Snow Fairy, absolute class. And like you, John, I think the way that Holly Doyle rode this at Newcastle, the money that was for it said that this was an absolute machine. When do you see an Ed Worthel horse, like well backed at 9-4 against top yards? You've got Moktasab of Owen Burrows, you've got First Light, John Gosden's, King Francis, Roger Varian, Musharraf, Roger Varian, and they just couldn't get enough on. And it was if to say this is an absolute machine. So like you said, John Leaper is just such a major contender. He's definitely on my shortlist. But obviously, we're having to look at this race as though high definition might not turn up if he doesn't. So this is where we're going to have to come with alternate contenders. And like you say, I'm firmly in the John Leaper camp with you. And to be honest, you've thrown one at me in the Varian horse and that's been quite well backed as well. And like you say, that could be his best so far, because like you said, you'd run your best in the Dante. You would run your best. Yeah. So that warrants respect. So it's a tricky puzzle, this one. The one that impressed me was of the Aidan O'Brien other runners was Wordsworth. Looked like diminuendo, this. Obviously, I know it's wrong sex, but it just this flashy chestnut, big white paws, strong galloping type, pulling clear at the finish, very impressive, good time. And I just thought that's in really good order at this moment in time. So I just felt if he selected that to come across instead of high definition, say if that didn't make it, I don't think Wordsworth will beat high definition. Don't get me wrong on this, but if that was Aidan O'Brien's main contender, then I also think that's in with a shout as well. But yeah, what a great race the Dante is this year. So John, if high definition doesn't run, are you siding with John Leaper?
I think at the prices, I think you've got to. I genuinely think John Leaper, high definition in or out. John Leaper is a better out each way. Yeah,
good shout. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with you on that, and I'll snap you on that, because I think if someone's got me against the wall now, said right, we've got a bet now, that would be the one, I think. Though, like I said, I am a little bit taken by Wordsworth as well of Aidan's if high definition doesn't run. Okay, we move on from the Thursday to Friday's two principal races, where we've got what is in. I tell you what, the York meeting this week could be the flagship meeting of all meetings so far. I mean, right, you look at this. This is the principal race. Sorry, the second principal race on Friday, which is the Michael Seeley Memorial Stakes, just a listed event for fillies. This is if these all turn up, and I've got every reason to believe they will do because
It's a
the
page,
Empress.
isn't it?
I mean, this is a Group 2. This is a Group 2. Make no mistake. John, what are your thoughts on this?
It's an absolute peach of a race. You got Love Is You, that I actually thought was probably the best horse in the Nell Gwyn. And the runner up went and placed in the Guineas. So there's every chance Love Is You could be pretty nice. Creative Flair is definitely going the right way and would be the sort that you'd say maybe make up into a Coronation Stakes type. Sea Empress, again, very interested in coming here instead of the Musidora, which I believe she is.
Yeah.
Bags of potential there. And then we've got our old friend Snow Lantern. Now, if she's running here, I mean, I would be scratching my head as to why they didn't run in the Guineas, you know. Because, you know, I mean, why haven't they gone Musidora if they were worried about the mile for the Guineas? I don't know. Stacks of potential, you know, I mean, couldn't have done that maiden any better. But against some of these, we'll need to take a step forward. It's a busting good race, you know. I think you could maybe say a Coronation Stakes winner. Eh?
It's definitely the race of the week for me. In terms of like what could be turning out here. I mean, let's not even rule out Kestenner or John Gosden.
Yeah.
I mean, these are really good fillies, and I mean, to me, Snow Lantern, like you say, it is the most remarkable decision of the flat season so far. Why Snow Lantern didn't run in the 1,000 Guineas? Incredible decision, because there's only 1,000 Guineas. You know, it doesn't matter if she didn't go on the track, because Love Is You didn't go on the track in the Nell Gwyn, but at least they found out that Love Is You didn't go on the track because they ran in the trial at the Nell Gwyn. For some reason, the Hannons bottled Newmarket. They bottled Newmarket at that meeting, and then they went to Newbury. Unless they just feel that she won't handle undulations, and that's just that. Maybe just that. But like you said, John, Love Is You didn't handle the track at Newmarket. Could be easily be £7 to £10 better than 103. Sea Empress beat the Musidora favourite Tiona and was very impressive in doing so. Obviously, I've mentioned about William Agus's record here at this meeting. And then you come down to Creative Flair, the third in, you know, that handed Aurea a decent beating at Ascot. So what a race! I'm not going to tip up one really, because it's one of those.
It's one to savour.
That is one for the pate. Glass of wine if you fancy it. Gin, half a pint of gin.
Get Digby in.
And if you're a non-alcoholic, then nice cup of tea, bit of pate on toast, you know, Marks and Sparks, something like that. Treat yourself. Bit of Marks and Sparks, bit of Ardennes
duck with orange.
Duck orange pate, pate for the Michael Seeley on Friday. So we've sorted that. We've told you the direction which to go for that, and we have the final feature race of the meeting, which is the 310, which is the mile and 3/4 matchbook Yorkshire Cup Stakes, a Group 2 event in which Sir Ron Priestley, for the Screaming Kilt, is 7-4 market leader, John.
Well, let's hope something goes wrong for the Screaming Kilt then. Because let's be fair, nobody really wants to see him win this, do they? You know. I mean, I had a good look at Ron Priestley. I'm not even giving him his title, so. And a lot of his wins, a vast majority of his wins have been at front end gas holes, Nottingham, Newmarket, such and such. His only defeats, 4 from 11, have been at hold up favouring tracks. And unless he gets a softy here, this is a hold up favouring track to a certain extent.
Yeah.
They're probably daft enough to let Mayerth Road press him as well. Now, Tim, who tends to have horses needing a run this year, he's looking to get Wells Fargo back in the racing game after a long time off. Now that one can be very fresh and fizzy, and I could say that probably blowing out 3 furlongs out, to be honest, but I think that'll be up there as well. So I don't think Ron will have it all his own way on the front end, especially with Aidan running something that sounds like Jim Bolger named it, Amran Nad Rifran, or whatever the hell it is, which must be giving a nice lead to Santiago, who was fourth in a good ledger last year. He had his pipe opener when beaten at odds on, which a lot of Aidan's older ones do as part of the graduation when they're going from 3 to 4. Sure to come on a ton for it, but I'm assuming that Santiago would be about second favourite.
Yep.
And when I'm looking at all these pace pressers that's in it, I'm thinking I could do with a nice older horse that's thereabouts on the figures and could pick up the pieces, but I want a nicer price. And the one the golden pin has landed on is Spanish Mission. I just think this can be kept out the heat of battle until the last quarter mile. And I'm not saying he'll pass everything in front of him, but I think he might only be left with 1 or 2 in front of him when he gets to the lane. And I think 16-1 is quite reasonable.
He was in great order last autumn. Obviously disappointed on the very soft ground at the Champions meeting. But came back in Saudi Arabia with a good second, and then again subjectivist, just sent to struggle that day a little bit. But as I said, Mark Johnston seemed to just bounce off front end and nothing got near it. So it's one of them. It's not a bad shout that, John, at a price. Kind of concur with you there. So Ron
you don't want 7-4 wrong with everybody breathing down his neck, do you?
Not really. Not at your, like you say. You make a very good point that Sir Ron's wins, have come when like he's blasted off at tracks that probably suit that kind of rides. And York, if you blast off at York for 1 mile and 6, you might be flagging in the closing stages. And what else puts me off as well is this is Ron's 3rd run. I mean, they're certainly not bothered, are they? No. 3rd run inside sort of just over a month. A listed event at Nottingham, then the Jockey Club Stakes at Newmarket, and then was it a Jockey Club? Have I got the race right? Is it Princess of Wales or Jockey Club? Jockey Club. That's Princess of Wales, the July meeting. So it's like you say, it kind of puts me off at 7-4, and I'd look to take it on. I haven't got a selection in the race, so that's why I've sort of I kind of like your reasoning there. But I think at 7-4, Sir Ron Priestley, for me, I would be taking on because, as John says, this doesn't really suit a front runner to try and blast out and make all in his exuberant style that he does. It's just, that's it. And that's where me and John lie. And also, don't forget, he's got the penalty, John. So he's given, not only has he got to do it the hard way, which is from the front, he's got the penalty to some of these. So yeah, I'm against the favourite there. So we move on to our best bets of the meeting, John. I've got. I'll leave you with the final shout. We might go head to head. We might go head to head even with a nap. I could see this happening actually, but I will go first this time. It's not often I do this, so I always usually come to you. But my nap of the meeting. It'd be helpful if I could find it. It is. That's why. Wrong race. Right, it is on the Wednesday, and it's probably against one of your fancies. I've got a feeling. My nap of the meeting is the 140 at York on Wednesday. It's the Jorvik handicap, and it is Illarab of William Haggis. And obviously, I love the trainer at this meeting for starters, but that's not the principal reason. The principal reason is last year he was doing ridiculous sectional times, ridiculous, as in this is not really achievable. And I can remember having one of the biggest bets I'd had last flat season when he landed a handicap here over an extended mile and a quarter. Again, I think, John, you were a bit sick because you backed Arshek of Tim's. And he quick and clear at Arshek, and you thought, I've done it. You stood up, you were beating your chest.
I was already rubbing the Vicky, and never mind beating me.
And then Illarab came from nowhere and just blasted close home. And he's done that all season. If you look at his profile, he's won by a neck, won by 3/4, won by a neck, won by a neck, won by 3/4. He only does enough, but he's got this terrific burst of pace, which for a middle distance horse, I think he's just special. And whilst obviously I do respect Sir Michael's my Frankel, of course I do. I just think Illarab this season will be, without a doubt, top of the range. I'm not saying Group 1, but he'll be, Group 3, Group 2 level. They've got Hardwick entries, both the front two. So, but Illarab is my nap of the meeting. 140 York on the Wednesday. That's the opener for the Dante meeting. John, what's your nap of the meeting?
It's not in the 140 on Wednesday.
Get in there. At least we're not going into it.
Yeah, it's actually in the 340 on Wednesday.
All
right. This is one of Huey Morrison's called Huddlestone Mac.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Huey thought this was good enough to run in the Greenham. Absolutely pissed its chance away and way too free. We've got him in a 7 furlong handicap, which will fill out on Wednesday. There'll be stacks of pace on. He's got a nice enough draw. I think this will really suit, and for a horse rated in the 80s, I'm absolutely convinced this can rate mid-90s at worst. I think this will suit him down to the ground. I have no ground worries, and I think this is really, really solid poke.
It's a really, really sexy profile, isn't it? I mean, it's absolutely pissed up on the Billy Idol at Sandown last back end.
Yeah.
And
he's just wasted him in the Guineas, early in the training.
It beat one easily that also won its maiden easily at Bath next time. Absolutely won pulling a cart. So This, like you say, and to be fair to Hewitt, he don't tilt at windmills.
That's the thing, I mean, if Clive Britton had run it in the Greenham, you'd have probably not took any notice of it, would you?
It's a good shout.
I think this, with the guaranteed pace, I don't just expect this to. I think it's an impressive performance here. That's
a good shout. And to boost your confidence as well, have you seen that Ryan Moore was jocked up for Rifleman and he's turned down the ride because it chucked him off at Sandown?
Yeah.
So that's the favourite at 7-2, and Ryan Moore won't ride it. So there you go, folks. John has come with could be a perler there in Huddleton Mac. as he's Dante meeting Nap. I like that. I do like the selection. I think it's good. Have you anything else, John?
Well, there's a couple of system bets. In the 140 on Wednesday, I'd urge people to have a second look at Mr. Carpenter.
Yeah.
It's on a very workable mark and has already had the requisite paper opener. Bolling Joan, 450, same story. And then on Thursday, there's two. I think King Ottercar, the ground went bang against him in the link and he did too much too soon.
Yeah.
Spencer's booked, tailor-made for this job. I think you'll see a different performance on Thursday, along with Smart Champion of Dave Simcox. Never seems to run at places where his old upstairs going to benefit, but it just might here. And it's not always a great race, that 2-miler. On Friday, I liked your friend Mr. Haggis with Wink of an Eye. I thought that was a massive eye catcher last time. No run when he wanted to be out. He finished up well beat, but probably should have won. Moctasab's in that, the one that chased home John Leaper as well.
Yeah.
So that's dangerous. And on Friday, I thought Tenbury Wells open to fair improvement from 3 to 4. Gelded since last season. Trainer's won this twice in the last 10 years. He's got a good record with all the handicappers in debuting at York. So I did note that. And there's one interesting horse. I don't know whether it's going to turn up at York. Kagan of David O'Meara's. It's a £13,000 purchase out of Andre Fabre and Godolphin. Easy to make this a case for this one being better than his provisional rating coming over here. And certainly one to keep an eye on. O'Meara's got it ended up in 2 races at York. As I say, it's not fast to run, but I would urge people to keep an eye on that one.
Outstanding, John. Outstanding. That's some really good stuff there. Right, so me and John are sort of like on the feature races. Me and John are very keen on KM Pepper for the Middleton. That would be our banker of the feature races, I would believe, John. And our naps for the meeting are Illarab in the Jorvik handicap. And John, your nap again? What was
Huddleston Mac.
That's the one, Huddleston Mac. Huey Morrison's, which ran in the Greenham. Obviously, Huey doesn't tilt at windmills. So they're the 3 sort of principal selections to concentrate on. John's left for you some fantastic horses to follow there at the end. So I hope you find use this week. And I wish you all the best with your punting. Please get in touch with us on Twitter, as always. Messages, tweet at us. We'll reply. Any questions, queries, whatever. It's all good fun as we enjoy the sport this week. That's all from me and John. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we are back on Friday night, as usual, previewing the Lockinge this weekend, which Palace Pier will be probably a warm order to win the Lockinge on the back of his Sandown win. That's all from me and John. Bye for now.